The heads of the two families are getting together. So all this week, it's been about Tennessee, NIL violations, NCAA swooping in and saying, you guys are naughty. We're going to come at you with both guns, both barrels.
Here are the fuzzy handcuffs.
Loaded. Well,
thank you, NCAA daddy.
Today, the Big Ten and the SEC announced that they are uniting to tackle pervasive issues in college athletics. According to SEC Commish Greg Sankey, pressures are mounting. We are not going to be status quo. This is a joint advisory group of university presidents, chancellors, and ADs from the Big Ten and the SEC who will address significant challenges facing college athletics. The challenges including, but not limited to, recent court decisions, pending litigation, patchwork of state laws, complex governance proposals, compel the two conferences to take a leadership role in developing solutions for a sustainable future of college sports. Tony Petitti quote from the press release, the Big Ten and the SEC have substantial investment in the NCAA, and there is no question that the voices of our two conferences are integral to governance and other reform efforts. Greg Sankey, quote, there are similar cultural and societal impacts on our student athletes, our institutions, and our communities because of the new college athletics environment. We do not have predetermined answers to the myriad questions facing us. We do not expect to agree on everything, but enhancing interaction between our conferences will help focus efforts on common sense solutions.
This seems kind of Game of Thrones to me.
It seems very, you knew at some point that Don Corleone and Don Barzini were going to have to sit down.
So those are the two.
Those are the two families.
So who are the five?
Well, that's coming up in a minute.
Okay. My first reaction
But this is the bigger story because a lot of people have surmised that this is among many of the next steps towards creation of a super league of which these two conferences will be the super league.
Certainly, John, two people in this very room who are sitting next to each other and drinking beer together have thought for a long, long time that this was the future. And some were like, you guys are overreacting. I do not think that we are overreacting. And when I saw this news today, the first thing that I thought was, oh, I know what this is going to lead to. Somebody asked me earlier, let me see if I can find it real quick. It was Kyle, and he said, he said, is this where they decide they just don't have to listen to anything the NCAA says? It is certainly going to lead to a place where, yes, they don't listen to the NCAA because they create whatever iteration of the sport is to come.
They either create whatever iteration is going to come, or they reform the NCAA in such a way where basically those two leagues run the show.
I know you were asked earlier by somebody, what does this mean? It was for March Madness, right? What would this mean, or could this be a concern for March Madness? And you told this person, yeah, hold on to what you have right now and enjoy it while it lasts, because things are about to change. I know I've talked to somebody who is very plugged in with a lot of the ins and outs of, dare I say, the future of things because of who this person knows. This person's been telling me for years now that this is the end game, that they're wanting things to change, that they don't want it to be like it is right now. And I will engage this person and say, okay, I think it's stupid, and I will tell that person why I think it's stupid. But the thing I never understand is, why do they think that's what fans want? Why do they think fans, like, I guess in football I can see it a little bit. I don't understand why they think this will be good for like college basketball, college baseball, for basically every other sport that's not college football. And yet I would say that this isn't the first step, because there have been many steps to lead to this direction. But we will look back at this moment and say, oh man, that was a pretty big deal. And it took us 3 hours into the show to talk about. Shouldn't we be like screaming from the mountaintops, like, this is going to be bad for the sport?
Oh, absolutely. But I almost feel like I'm shouting into the void now, because it almost feels like an inevitability.
Sure.
That this is where it's going and this is what it's going to lead to. And this is just another step. But now they're actually coming together and bringing their presidents and chancellors, the people that actually have the power. It's not the commissioners that have the power. They're the face, but it's their bosses, the presidents and the chancellors, that have the power.
Yeah.
And if these two sides get together on enough issues, and realize we don't need any of the other riffraff, so be it. Now, you might think, well, wouldn't the Big Ten be interested in preserving the tournament, the NCAA basketball tournament, and wouldn't a conference like the SEC be wanting to preserve baseball because those are the other sports that those leagues tend to do best at or tend to prioritize over others? And I would say this, just like with every other issue when it comes to college sports, everyone else is along for the ride. This is all being driven by the football bus because that's where the lion's share of the money comes from.
The lion's share.
All of it is being driven
kneecaps.
by the football bus. And the other stuff, we'll work that out. We'll
really
work
is
that stuff
We'll
out.
figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, when these conferences are getting realigned, the first thing that they do is figure out how's this going to work for football. First thing. Oh, and then, oh, yeah, we got to figure out the rest of the stuff. Okay, well, here's what we'll do. And it's not always that simple. I'm not saying the Big Ten didn't put a little bit of thought into how they were going to handle the 18-team league with basketball, and the same with the SEC when they expand. But trust me, most of the conversation is driven around football because football is what brings in the money.